Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Football United TV and the Football Politics Show. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm joined by special guest Lauren Page. How you doing, Lauren? Oh, I turned you off. My bad.
How dare you?
How comes you're stuck on unmute? Oh no! Have you muted yourself, Lauren? It's stuck on mute. Well, talk. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. Yeah, looking forward to this one.
I am indeed. I just can't figure out, Lauren, if you can hear me. For some reason, your mic is on mute. It's on the mute.
Muted.
Oh,
she'll come back in. Yeah, I think she'll come
back
in.
I thought it was me. I thought I'd muted her, but then actually I hadn't. I couldn't take her off mute. So hopefully we get her back on in a minute. We are talking about, of course, big news today coming out from Newcastle that the bid and the takeover has been accepted from, they're saying not the Saudi Arabian nation, but they're saying a consortium on that. Yeah. Look, I mean, Newcastle fans are very happy about it, talk, aren't they? I mean, what do you make about this for fans outside of the club? Is this good news?
Listen. When we were talking about the ESL, about the football landscape changing, this is just one part of that, in my opinion, because we've got Roman Abramovich went in and bought Chelsea, did what he did there. The City owners have bought City and done what they've done there, and the English football, for people who actually love the game, is a very desirable product. And when you get a club as size as Newcastle, who've been, let's be fair, have been underachieving for a long time, right? It's a very, very attractive proposition for some people who have got the kind of money that we're talking about with these people. I don't know who they are. I'm not going to get into any kind of talking about, the connections to governments or any of that nonsense, because I don't know anything about it, so I ain't going to comment on it. So as far as the money side of it goes, though, it's a lot of money. I think it's like 430 odd billion that they're worth, which is, I mean, you can't even imagine that kind of money. So, you know what, for the Newcastle fans, I don't know a lot of Newcastle fans, if I'm honest with you. So I don't know how to gauge how they're looking at this. It'd be interesting to see how they're sort of. All right, in one way, I will say, yeah, they're going to be glad Mike Ashley's on his way out, but I don't know what their opinion will be on the current prospective owners.
I listened to TalkSport this morning because I as soon as I woke up, I heard the news, and it kind of shook me a little bit because I was like, okay, this is actually happening, and a Newcastle fan rang up and he was tearful.
Really? Happy or?
Yeah, with joy.
Oh, okay.
Like, he couldn't understand how great this was for the club, and like he just couldn't compute what had been happening. It's sort of like being told, I guess, that you've won the jackpot in the lottery, basically, isn't it? Newcastle won the lottery.
That's all right. I mean, the Newcastle fans. I've got nothing against Newcastle in any way whatsoever. I don't think there's any kind of, from the Man United fan base, I don't think there's a real kind of, not that I know of anyway, like a hatred or anything like that. I think there's more of a respect thing. Newcastle's a great club. They've got a great fan base, loyal, very loyal fan base. Newcastle's a great city. The people of Newcastle are great. I've been to Newcastle a few times and it's absolutely a brilliant place. So, you know what? I can understand why. Yeah, they would be emotional and happy and joy. And you know what? I just say, okay, it's fine. But all I will say is that look, as we've seen with Manchester City and Chelsea, it never guarantees success. But what it will do is, hopefully, it makes the fan base happier. They enjoy going to the games more now because they are going to feel like there's more of a chance of them competing. It's just now a case of whoever's going to be put in charge of this setup, can they get the balance right in terms of personnel? That's the problem you have.
Yeah, but I guess it will take time. It did with Man City. They bought Robinho in. I think Mark Hughes, the manager at the time, wasn't he, when the takeover happened? It took them at least 3/4 years to start dominating. I think it will take Newcastle a bit more time as well, seeing as the market is quite crazy at the moment, isn't it? The market, you know what I mean? Like, there's not so many players you can go out and acquire for the positions that teams need. I mean, we know that, don't we, with Man United as well? Finding it hard to find a CDM. Took us a long time to get a right midfielder. So it'll be the same with Newcastle. I think it's going to be tough, isn't it, in the transfer market? I mean, look, they've got to beat relegation, haven't they? Because if they don't, this takeover, could it ruin it?
No, not necessarily. But I do believe really that, listen, when you these people have come in, whoever they are. Like I say, I have no idea who they are, so I can't really comment on them. So I don't know who they are. So, but whoever these people are, they're going to come into this club. They're not coming into it in a kind of like, oh, this is going to be a long-term project kind of arrangement. It will be a long-term project in terms of what they're going to bring in terms of, I will say in hyphen brackets, infrastructure around the club, like Manchester City are doing, which is a great thing for the community, the local community and the youth, grassroots, blah, blah. That's brilliant. But they will want to make a real kind of impression in the actual league itself to say, yeah, look, we are here and we mean business. We're not here for the fun of it. We're here to challenge and we're here to push. So when you're in that kind of mindset and you've got the financial backing to back it up, then I'll tell you what, when you can go flashing the money about, and not have to kind of dilly-dally and worry about, listen, things can get done. You'll be surprised how quickly things might happen at Newcastle. It's going to be quite very interesting indeed.
What do you think? What do you think, mate? You think they can lure Mbappe away from Madrid?
Imagine that. I don't know about that. Well, listen. As we know, money talks, mate. Money is the key to everything in the world. Unfortunately, it's the root of all evil and blah blah blah. But whether they could actually get Mbappe, I think his heart is set on Real Madrid. There's something about Real Madrid that I can imagine. If I was a player in the Premier League, a young player especially, there would be something there. But would I choose to go there? Who knows? But I think from Newcastle's point of view, what I'd say is look, there's an opportunity for them now to make themselves available in the shop window to, firstly, managers. Like, I think, and I wouldn't put it beyond them to actually now go along because Zinedine Zidane is doing nothing. Get Zinedine Zidane. I mean,
good shout, very good shout.
You know what I mean? Can you imagine Zinedine Zidane? I mean, and you know what? I think that's exactly the type of manager that Newcastle need.
I'm also hearing Gareth Southgate's name thrown out there.
No, I don't. No, I don't. Listen, I respect him for what he did. I respect him for what he did in the Euros for us. It was brilliant, getting us to a final. I never witnessed that in my life, and I thought I never would, but he did. So I'm happy with that. The fact that we got cheated. They cheated us in the final. I'm going to stick to that because we got robbed. But anyway, we got to the final, so I'm pleased. But no, Gareth Southgate is not a club manager, in my opinion. So definitely not for Newcastle. No way. They've got bigger ambitions than Gareth Southgate, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I hope so. Everybody, please do smash the like, share, subscribe if you can. Lauren will be back on very soon. Technical difficulties today, and you've had it too, talking. Yeah, so there's something going around in the air today with.
Well, I'll tell you what it was with me. I upgraded. This is a warning to anybody who's watching. Before you upgrade to Windows 11, just be aware that it does sort of mess things up a little bit in terms of your sound setup. There's some things that I just can't find. I don't know where they've gone. Shortcuts
I get that with the iPhone. You know, the updates, they always bugger up when you update it first time, and then you go, I want to go back to the old one.
What I will say is, though, it is a nice piece of software, Windows 11. It's really, really nice. But yeah, you'll have to do some messing about with it and stuff. But yeah, so listen, I mean, Newcastle, would they? I'll ask you. I'll put the question back to you, Matt. Do you see this being an attractive proposition for Zinedine Zidane?
Depending on the money, because I think with geographically as well, it's not really the place you look on the map to live. And it's no offense to Newcastle, because it is a beautiful place, especially Durham as well, just underneath it. Beautiful village. So it is a nice place to live. I think people underestimate how great Newcastle is and how good of a night out Newcastle is. I'm pretty sure a lot of people out there know. But look, for Zidane, maybe he hasn't done any other managerial time at any other club apart from Real Madrid. So would he go to Newcastle? Would he invest his time into what they want to be, which is potentially Champions League every year, challenging for titles? I think so. I think it would be a hot prospect for him. But would he do it, mate? Would he?
Well, the way I look at it is like you've just said. It's the way you sell it. It's the way you sell it to somebody like Zinedine Zidane. Because let's have it right. If you're going to approach Zinedine Zidane, first thing you understand is that he's a winner. He's an absolute. He's one of the greatest players of all time. He's a winner. He has proved his credentials more than enough to say, I'm capable. Right now, it's how you approach it. It's your vision. It's your and willingness to back because, like I say, I mean, you wouldn't go to William Hogarth with a paint set from Poundland and say, "Yeah, William, do me a nice picture, will you?" You know what I mean? You're not going to do it because you're going to say you're going to give him the best. You want the best. If you're going to create real art, you need the best tools to do so. So for the managers like Pep Guardiola and Zinedine Zidane and that, they want the best tools to work with. So I understand that. And people will say about, can they go and do this with that club? They probably could, but why should they? I don't understand that. That's one thing I've never worked out. I don't understand why you would have to prove yourself because, like I've just said, William Hogarth could have still painted probably a decent picture to win a prize with a cheap Poundland paint set. But you give him the real deal, the real McCoy, he would have paint you a masterpiece, which can't be touched. That's the difference.
Yeah, agreed. Absolutely agree. Same with recording artists. You know what I mean? You give Abbey Road Studios to the Beatles, they'll create you a great masterpiece.
Exactly.
Yeah. I want to shout out a few comments here, Talk, and then we'll talk about how this might affect other clubs. I know people talking about Arsenal and Spurs being a bit jittery about the news. We'll go on to that just quickly. 30 Live says big up Matt, Talk, and Lauren. Lauren hopefully will be back very shortly. If not, we'll definitely get her on again soon. But I'm hoping she comes back because I know she's eager to talk about this.
Who is 40 Live, by the way? Is it Sven?
Is it Sven? If it is Sven, big up to you, mate. We need to talk. We need to do we need to do a Dutch Football United Airways, mate. That's really important. I need to sort that out with you. If it is, Sven, if it's not, 30 Live, thank you for tuning in. Good for Newcastle fans. They've been through the wars for 14 years. Proper passionate fans who deserve focus. And he also says, this is the way how you run a football club. When directors complete the deal, they go outside and connect and speak to the fans before the media. That's the right way to start a new ownership. Very, very true there. Anthony Herbert says, good move this for Newcastle, but they got the money to spend in January, which we was sort of talking about. Can they do anything in January? Many feel Antonio Conte would be a good fit because of his passion for the game. And Anthony Herbert says, agree with Talk. Southgate is not a club manager. So look, I mean, maybe going back on to what Anthony Herbert said here, that they got the money to spend in January. Now, I think it'll be very tough to start building a team and getting 3 or 4 players in January.
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
and this is what I'm talking about the relegation thing, because okay, they're not in a relegation battle now, but they've lost quite a few games. They're not looking very good, are they, at the moment? You can't reinforce any the team at the moment, so they've got to work with what they've got. Bruce's job at the moment is under threat, so there's still a long way to go for them to sort that out. But do you think they can do anything in January?
Well, excuse me. I think they can actually. I think they can, but I think they will. They're not. This is again what I was talking about before. About it needs a measured approach. This is not a gung ho kind of just go out and go grab that, and that's not supermarket sweep. I think what they'll do firstly is make it clear to Steve Bruce that look, listen, they respect what he's done and blah blah blah. They'll come to some kind of agreement with him in order to let him go, pay off his contract, whilst at the same time doing that, no doubt be speaking to other managers. Like I say, maybe even Conte, or Zinedine Zidane, if they can actually, would they be willing to come in at this stage, though, to try and work with what they've got right now and to get them sort of at least not losing, and accruing points. They need to be accruing points in order to secure themselves into the Premier League for next season. And, just look at, I suppose the model here is Chelsea. With Tuchel, that's the way to look at this, in a kind of similar way, with the sprinkling of all the riches in the world. So, when you look at it from that point of view, maybe it is possible, but I don't believe they will go out crazily spending. I think they may get 1 or 2 additions, whichever manager comes in, sort of points out they will need to keep the team up.
Yeah, look, I think it's difficult. If it would have been done 18 months ago when it should have been done, then we would know by now. Like, they would probably be competing. They'd have had 2 or 3 windows. So I think January's a bit too soon. I think they're going to have to bring in a few players in January, whether they're going to be the high class players, world class players, or they're just going to be people that they know can do a job or come in, see the campaign through, because Newcastle are going to struggle if they just don't invest at all in January, even without this bid. They're struggling anyway. So, but if they do get relegated,
I don't think it's
a climb, isn't it?
Well, not necessarily, because I think I don't think they will get relegated, but even if they were to get relegated, I still believe they would, just simply because of the finances and everything else, I think they would be able to get out of it. But I don't see them getting relegated. But what I also don't see is Steve Bruce being there very much longer. And I think right now, as we're speaking, I bet there is actually conversations going on right now between managers and representatives of the prospective new owners of Newcastle. Because listen, in the business world, because it is in a way, it's business, right? You've got to ask questions. So, there could be people.
You buy a new broom. You want to sweep up a few things, don't you? When you
exactly. Well, that's the thing, yeah. So they could be well talking to like Antonio Conte now and asking the question: look, is this something that you would be interested in? It's going to be, there will be money available in January, but do you think you can do a job from now till January? We'll give you what you want in January. We'll give you your contract in terms of what you want wages-wise. That gets done and dusted within the first conversation, so that they know that you're serious and that, okay, then let me have a look at this. Take a few days to look at the prospectus, shall we say, right? And then it's down to the individual managers then to decide whether it fits what their own ambition of, is this going to look good for them on their CV? Because that's right. Newcastle are, they are a big club. You've got, not just Alan Shearer, but I'm going to use his name anyway. But Alan Shearer, Bobby Robson, these are huge names in the footballing world. So, these managers like Zidane.
Isn't their attendance like the third highest, like the stadium capacity?
It's 50,000 every home game or something like that. I think.
I thought they can seat about 58,000.
Yeah, like I say, don't quote me on that, because I can say I'm not too.
I said that, not you, me. You're right. You're safe.
I'm not. I'm not an absolute expert on Newcastle, but like I say, I do know that they are a big club. I know their fans are, like I said before, are loyal and passionate. I love seeing the Newcastle fans in the middle of winter with their tops off, like bare chested, withstanding in the cold. You know what I mean? It's like, it's great.
Can Anthony? I love the comment here. Newcastle was a great for a night out. I got smashed one night. Took me hours to find the hotel, and it was only like 20 minutes away from where we were drinking. Cool, nice story.
But you know what I'll say as well about Newcastle? The people are so friendly and so open and warm. It's and also that the Newcastle accent is, some people can struggle to understand it, but you know what, I don't. Actually, there are some parts of Newcastle where it is really, really, really broad, and you've got to be like concentrating on what's being said, because there's nothing worse than having to ask somebody to repeat themselves if you've not understood what they said. You know what I mean? I don't like to do that.
No, agreed. No, it is a nice place, mate. Honestly, it is. And the people are very friendly. They love their football. I think the biggest thing in Newcastle is football club. If you're from Newcastle or surrounding areas, you're 9 times out of 10 a Newcastle supporter, and you appreciate the club. And I know that people from that area as well, because Sunderland's a rival, isn't it? They still appreciate Newcastle, and Sunderland do back in a sense. They appreciate the whole area and football in that area. So it's nice to see that someone's got in with the richest in the Premier League. Well, they are now probably one of the richest clubs in the world.
I think they are the richest. I think they are the richest. I think they're even richer than PSG, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah.
It's 434 billion.
Wow.
I mean, that's a number you can't even write, mate. Do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous. But
in my brain, it's just going around and around and around the noughts. So there's too many.
Yeah.
There's too many noughts.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's it goes on for eternity. But this is an interesting comment.
Yeah, go and read it out then.
So Halil Duzgun, big up to you. Imagine Arsene Wenger being announced as Newcastle's new manager right after the takeover. We'll be very curious to see how that turns out to be. You know what? I mean, could that happen, Matt? I'll ask you.
No, because I think he enjoys his role in FIFA at the moment. He's looking at like making it every 2 years. So I just think would he? I don't think he would ever. He'd ever do it. Be with a team that faced Arsenal. I just don't.
Yeah, I mean it's an interesting thought. I mean, you know what you would if he were. I think. Do you know what I would say though, Matt? Is all right. We've got the Arsenal connection, but what I would say is, I think if Arsene Wenger was a little bit younger, 10, 15 years younger, it may be something that he probably might think, you know what? Yeah, but like I say, right now, I don't see it. I see it more being a
new manager.
It's going to be a Conte. It's going to be a Zidane.
I'm kind of looking at Nagelsmann.
Okay.
I'm looking at someone at the moment that can come in and just get the best out of what they've got and add a few players. He's got the respect, and then they'll push on forward. You look at Man City as well, like they went up with their managers, you know what I mean? With Mancini, and they got rid of Mancini and
Pellegrini
as well. And they're like, well, we're going to Pep now. We're going to the highest place now. We're ready for that. And they are dominating at the moment.
Of course they are, and they're going to be dominant. They're going to, in my opinion, I know this is not what we're talking about, but I'll just mention it. Man City win the league for me this season.
They will, but they're going to be looking over their shoulder now, aren't they?
Of course.
You've got new rivals in. Footy Live, guys, it's Tom from Rich Sports.
Big up Tom. Big up Tom.
Tom. So many Footy Lives and Footy reviews, and they're all from the same thing. Thank you so much for tuning in. Smash that like, people, if you are watching. Lauren will be back hopefully in a minute. I know she's got technical difficulties, and so have I with even saying the word. Muncie Talks. Yes, guys, great show. Thank you, dude, for coming in. Loving your content too recently, mate. Looks like you're doing really good for yourself here. If Southgate comes to United, I won't be watching United.
No.
Don't do that.
No.
Don't do that. I mean, I will still
No.
watch Man United. I don't care even if Jasper Carrot becomes manager.
I'll tell you what, I would rather have Jasper Carrot, mate. Let me tell you, because at least it'd be fun. Do you know what I mean?
What? Do you mean Jasper Carrot or Mike Dean?
No, Jasper Carrot. The Jasper Carrot, the comedian.
He looks like him, doesn't he? Do you think?
Yeah, he does a bit. But no, listen, let me just be. I want to say something here, right? I cannot for the life of me see Southgate taking over from Ollie. No way. It makes no sense. He's not a club manager, in my opinion.
If you can't do good with Middlesbrough and co, I don't know how you think you're going to be able to do any good with United.
But not just that. It's like, you know what? You can't take like what he's done with the national squad and then try and apply that what he does there to club football. It's not the same thing. It's just not. And I don't even know. Would he even be brave enough to take on that role? I don't think so. You know, he's putting himself there in a position of like. I mean, it's all right, you know, being an England manager, it's a big pedestal, but putting yourself in charge of probably the biggest club in the world, in my opinion. I know people will say that we're probably not, but I believe we are. In terms of recognized, you know, being recognized and blah blah. Is he going to put himself in that position? I don't see it. And plus, I don't see the board going for him, to be honest with you. Big up Solo as well.
Big up Solo. I mean, maybe the are the Man United agenda on tonight? If they are, please go check out the channel Man United agenda. Sorry, I'm so tongue tied tonight, Rise. I think it's all this money talk is just me blubber out.
Tell me about it. Do you know what? It's the money. I was talking. I know we're not talking about, but I'll mention it quickly. The price of electricity and gas going up is just ridiculous, man. It is a joke. Let me tell you, there's going to be awful lot of families who are going to struggle this winter. You know. Who are, you know, people on low incomes. It's going to be diabolical, absolutely terrible.
It is. We got Lauren in now. Welcome back, Lauren.
I'm finally back.
Yo, big up. You got home eventually. I like your talk last night.
Took me a while.
Dedication, Lauren. Dedication. And talking of dedication, dedicated Saudis taking over Newcastle. I mean. We're talking about it a little bit there on how it's going to affect other teams and I mean how the fans feel about it. But from your point of view, like as a Man United fan as well, I mean, how do you feel about this news today?
I mean, with it being Newcastle, it's a much better team, I think, to get it at this point, to get this kind of money and this kind of, you know, backing. Because I think if it was a bigger team, we've already seen it at City. I think the league could become even more overrun by the big teams. So it's nice to kind of see it go into Newcastle. Not many players are, you know, it's not the most attractive club to go to for big players, whereas this can now bring that in for them, which I think is quite exciting, to be honest with you. I'm on the side of I don't have a problem with Saudi money being brought into the league. It opens options, doesn't it?
Yeah, 100%. That's what we were just talking about them. Because you look at Newcastle as a club, you know, the fans are brilliant, passionate, extremely loyal. They you know, they have been underachieving massively for a long, long time. And we were just talking as well. I mean, with me and Matt about the possibilities of who are they going to, because the Steve Bruce situation needs to be sorted quick, because they do not want the team getting into a dangerous relegation battle, having just been bought by, you know. So in terms of manager, I mean, for me, it's going to be looking like somebody like Zinedine Zidane or Antonio Conte, that kind of, you know.
That's where I would have gone. I think Conte, I know he's kind of, United fans are talking about him, you know, wanting him at United and stuff, but I think with the Saudis going to Newcastle, basically having a blank checkbook, it's gonna bring in those kind of managers like Conte and Zidane.
Yeah.
Do you think? I mean, I was thinking that it's going to be difficult. Like I said to talk earlier, it's going to be difficult for Newcastle to do much in the smaller amount of space that they've got, especially with the January transfer window. Talking about bringing in players, are they going to be able to like lure people in that quickly? Even if it is a load of money, like it's geographically, it's not the right place for players to think like, yeah, I fancy a move to Newcastle?
I think for me, they'll get through till the end of the season. I don't think January is going to be massive for them. I think it's going to give the team a big boost of confidence, getting these owners. So I think that'll get them through the season. And then the summer transfer window is where it's all going to kind of happen for them. And we're going to see the changes that the money can make.
Mbappe?
Yeah. You never know.
No, I agree. That's what we just said there. Is that look, in January they will go out and get some additions, but I like right now, I think the absolute top concern and priority is they've got to obviously let Steve Bruce know that it's probably the end for him. They will pay his contract off and blah blah blah. But getting a manager installed first, they need to get that, in my opinion, because then the players know them where they're at, where you stand. You put yourself in a player's position and everything just goes whoosh up in the air, and nobody's really, nothing's set.
Do you think Rafa Benitez is sitting there thinking, oh, if I'd have just waited a little bit longer, could have gone back there and had all that money?
Well,
because Everton are now being punished, aren't they? This is the thing. He's coming to Everton and they're being punished for financial fair play, aren't they? They can't actually buy a lot of players at the moment, and they could actually be sanctioned for it. But that would never happen. That never does happen, does it? Even with Man City. But yeah, he's probably looking at it thinking, "God, could have gone back there."
I think any normal person would feel like that, wouldn't they? They'd look back and be like, "What if?"
What if?
Yeah.
And I mean, look, and we were saying as well, Lauren. Talk was saying maybe, possibly, Arsene Wenger being asked to come out of retirement to. I know it's a bit of a strange one. I thought. I don't think he would though.
I don't think he would. I don't think any amount of money now would bring him out of anywhere near the Premier League. Anyway, it wouldn't be a bad shout. I don't think, because I think we've kind of now looking at Arsenal currently. We look back at even Wenger's last couple of seasons. He wasn't doing too bad. He's still a decent manager, but I don't think that's likely at all for him to go back to or go to Newcastle.
It wasn't me who said it though, Matt. I didn't say it.
Oh no, we were talking about a comment. My bad, but I think you said that it maybe, possibly. That's what I meant.
No. I said if he was 10, 15 years younger, possibly.
Oh, yeah.
I think he may see it as a, but not at this stage now. No. Yeah, I don't see it. But like I say, for me, and who did you mention, Matt? You mentioned Nagelsmann.
Yeah, I said Julian Nagelsmann would be sort of the first person they might look at because he's someone they could easily sack. Do you know what I mean? Like, but he would get them to the next level. Do you know what I mean? I think he would, and he might come out of it like a better manager. But he is looked at by a lot of clubs, isn't he? Even big clubs. And talk about Man City,
in fact,
Man United have looked at him a little bit.
If you think about it, then let's try and determine then, given Newcastle's current squad and their position, who would this be the most attractive proposition for manager-wise? Would it be Antonio Conte? What can he come in and get this team at it and get them going right? Let's get solid. Let's be hard to beat, and everything else. Would Zidane? I mean, would Zidane even entertain the idea, even with money to spend in the summertime? Would you think that squad that he's got right there, right now? No, I won't have enough time to turn it around. And as well, Lauren, what we did mention was we were kind of looking at the Chelsea model in terms of what happened with Tuchel and Frank Lampard. So, you know what, it is a possibility. There's a possibility that it could be turned around rather quickly. But again, like I say, for me, it's determining who was going to be the right fit in terms of manager.
You've got to think about, like you say, the squad and who they have and kind of the way they play and the history of the club. Because Newcastle is such a loyal team, they can't just bring in anyone, and he might be the biggest name ever, but you can't bring someone in like that and then expect great things, because you need to understand a club like Newcastle to really manage them correctly, especially to get the fans on board as well. You can't just come in as Billy Big Bollocks, squeaky clean manager and think you can do the lot. You've got to know what you're doing. You've got to understand the club. I think Conte would want the job because I think he's got a bit of arrogance about him.
Yeah.
And he'll want to say, look what I can do.
Do you know what? That's exactly right. That's exactly right, because that's his personality. He's so... And also, there's somebody else I think we might have overlooked. Whether it be possible, I'm not so sure. Gattuso, because he's not in a job at the moment, is he? Gennaro Gattuso, because did he leave Roma for Mourinho? I think Gattuso.
Possibly, yeah.
So, and he's a similar kind of character. He's kind of like full of bravado, and full of like, you know what, nothing's too difficult for me. I can sort this out. But so I think there's going to be a lot of different options. Do you see? Let me ask you this: do you see any English managers that they would be looking at to try and prize out of another club? Oh, sorry. No, sorry. Let me rephrase that.
Rafa.
No. 1 second. Any managers currently in the Premier League? I'll say rather than
Rafa.
Okay, Rafa. Anybody else?
Pep.
Yeah.
I think the blank checkbook will really it'll perk his ears up. Not saying he'll leave, but I think it will. I think he'd think about it.
Would that ruin his legacy, though, that he's at least trying to build at Man City? Yeah. Some people say he hasn't achieved it yet, but
I think he wants to go anyway.
Listen, what we'll say about Pep and Man City is he's definitely already built. The legacy is there now. It's down to once he leaves, it's down to the owners to make, like we've been talking about United, like bad decision making in terms of recruitment, etc. Best in class, which we haven't got. That's a bit right. In terms of specific parts of the big jobs at Old Trafford. Not necessarily talking about Ole, because I'm Ole in, right? But other aspects, coaching, etc. It's not best in class. It is far from best in class. So we know, we've heard all this before from Gary Neville, etc. So, but like with Pep at City, that's all. He's laid all them foundations that are there. So if the owners take the right approach going forward from there, I mean, City are going to be... Well, they're going to be a force for as long as the owners are there. Simple as that.
They'll end up being the best in the world.
No, probably. Yeah. Well, you say that. Well, I agree with what you just said, though, Lauren, as well. Is that I said in a tweet the other day? I put it out. I said Liverpool. It's took them 31 years to win one league title. Jurgen Klopp's not going to be there for much longer, in my opinion. I don't see him signing another long extension and staying. Not with things like this going on, right? And there's a name, I've dropped it in the hat. What do you think? Would they be able to entice Jurgen Klopp away from Liverpool? He's not signed a contract. They could get an interim manager in before that to keep them in the Premier League and then start talking to Klopp. Is that a possibility?
I don't think so, but
why not? Explain.
Because he's that sort of manager that's done what he's done because he's passionate about it, and he knows he'd break the hearts of so many people. And they would not be happy.
But he's going to break the hearts of so many people, whatever, when he leaves to go to another club.
Leave abroad, he'll go somewhere else, and they'll be like. Imagine if Ronaldo left Man United to go to Man City. Imagine if Ronaldo went to Man City this season. Would you not?
Yeah, but it's already happened, though, Matt. It's already happened with Tevez.
Yeah, but
and before that, Brian Kidd. Yeah,
but I mean, no.
No. I don't see that being a problem. I think because
Liverpool fans would be.
Yeah, but that's just tough, isn't it? That's the way it goes.
Football, isn't it? And that's how. Think about
Dennis Law. Yeah,
right now.
He's at Everton. Who would have thought? Excuse me. Who would have thought he'd have gone to Everton? Never. Chelsea, even when he went to Chelsea, that was everybody went, what?
I know, but then he went to China. So he did it for the money as well.
Yeah, but hold on a sec. Let me just put it to you this way. All right, when you're a manager like these kind of managers we're talking about, real quality managers who are ambitious, who've got so many great ideas, so passionate. When a project is put in front of them, it's hard to say no. You have to put your past loyalties aside and think about what can I bring to the game? Because it's not just about going to a club and winning a trophy. It's more than that. Isn't it? It's like exactly what we've just been talking about with Pep Guardiola at Man City. He is building and has built a legacy, and that's a massive thing to leave behind a club when you eventually leave. Look at Alex Ferguson. We all know where we were before when Fergie came in. The stadium. Some will say it still is in tatters, but the stadium was a shed. It wasn't the greatest. We didn't have any money or anything like that. But Fergie he built this huge monster of a corporation, which we are now in Manchester United. So that's his legacy. Pep Guardiola's legacy will be what he's done at Manchester City, what he did at Barcelona, even though that's looking like it could be destroyed into a certain level, because of bad management. Again, and this is what I was talking about before with Manchester City's owners, they have to be careful of where they go from Pep, because it can all go south very quickly.
It can indeed. Let me just shout out a few more comments and we'll go on and talk about the owners and the human rights thing that people are bringing up. We'll talk about it because it is something that people are talking about. Solo says, I want Zinedine Zidane if Ole get the boot. I do as well, actually, to be fair, if that does happen. And not that I want it to happen, but there's a bit shaky at Man United at the moment as well, isn't it? Muncie Talks, wish United would get Takeover. Yeah, so do I. We're too expensive, though, aren't we?
Actually, whilst you brought that comment up, we'll quickly just discuss that, because I said you've got to remember that, because like I said a long time ago with the Glazers, it's becoming the cost of winning the Premier League and being like having sustained success is now becoming exceptionally expensive. They can't afford to do that. The Glazers they can't do it. That's why now they put these shares up. They're going to get 100 million be split between the brothers. Boom, boom. They cannot sustain continual renewal of squads to compete against City, against Chelsea, now against Newcastle. So for me, I think they are now probably looking at themselves and thinking, right, okay, wait a minute. And again, we were talking about protecting your investment, right? Being in the top four or fighting to be in the top four is not protecting their investment at Man United. It's just not, because the sponsorships that's not what the sponsorships are about. They will get new sponsorship offers, but it will be much lower and it's not going to work out. Everything will start to slip drastically. So for me, I think the Glazers are now going to find themselves in a position where they seriously consider putting us up for sale. And I just hope that's the case.
Good question. Lauren, would you like to jump in on that, seeing as we're talking a little bit there about Man United before we go on to the next one?
I've obviously, where I stand with the Glazers, I'd have them out in a heartbeat. I absolutely hate them. I think it's funny how they've signed Ronaldo this season, things papering over cracks, thinking it's going to appease the fans and forget that we all hate them, which we don't. I do think it's going to make them worry, but it's again back to this arrogance in football and in businessmen, and I think they're too arrogant. I think that they're too arrogant. They don't want to look like they can't compete, even though they financially probably can't. They're too arrogant to admit that they can't do this.
The thing for me that makes me sort of think that it's a big possibility is that it's now that you've got another club with ridiculous riches. This can damage, like I said, this can damage the Glazers' investment in Man United. If if the value starts to slip because we start to slip, we can't. If you're going to go after, I don't know, let's say Erling Haaland, say, right? If we start going after him, then Manchester City are going in for him as well, and Chelsea. Then all of a sudden, Newcastle United start putting their hand in and saying, "Here you go.
Yeah.
We'll gladly give you $500,000 a week wages. We'll give you a 15 million, 20 million, 30 million signing on fee. We can work it out around financial fair play and all that nonsense, even though it's not. Apparently, it's not there anymore. So it's again, this is what the Glazers businessman. I think when you're a businessman and you're earning money and it's sustaining itself in a roundabout way like United is, and you're skimming it, right? There comes a point where you think, okay, wait a minute, you're now being challenged by stronger businessmen with more sort of backing, where they're going to say, okay, then look, if you want to step up to the plate with us, it's going to cost you. It's like playing poker, and I don't think the Glazers are poker players in the terms of they will take the risk in losing value in the club. I think they would rather take the money now of whatever the club's value is, and just walk, let somebody else come in if they've got the financial power to compete in that kind of market, because it's going to be frightening.
It is going to be frightening. It is indeed. And Newcastle fans are probably happy right now. I'm pretty sure you see them outside the stadium today, like ripping their shirts off, shouting from megaphones, loving life. I'll read out a few more comments, and we'll talk about the owners a little bit before we finish off. Muncie talks. I'll split that with you. Talk. I wanted to read this one as well. Voice of reason. Thanks for being kind about Newcastle. All we want is to have owners who care and a team that tries. Very well said. Eddie Howe. Okay, now we'll skip that one. I'm not sure they're going to go for Eddie Howe. Very good first comment. Not backing it up with the second.
Actually, 1 second though. Actually, I think I know what you're going to say, Lauren. I'm going to try and read your mind. Or in fact, no, I'll let you go first. Go on.
With Eddie Howe, to be fair, I don't think they're going to go for him. They're going to want the higher end. But Eddie Howe is a really, really, really good manager, in my opinion. Yeah. And I don't actually think he'd be a bad option, especially if they want to get someone quickly and they can't get that big name. I think that would be a really, really good option. And Talk, when you asked the question about English managers, he was going to be my answer, but then obviously you changed it to Premier League managers that are already. Eddie Howe would have been my answer for an English manager if that's who if that's who they wanted to go. I think he's got no one. He's a really good manager. He deserves a good team, and he deserves a club that can fund him because he didn't have that at Sheffield United. So
I agree 100%. And what I was going to say, because I'll let you go first, I was going to say maybe Eddie Howe could be what you would say a good interim to get them from where Steve Bruce is going to be left off, which I should imagine will be in the next sort of 2 days. I think it's going to be as quick as that, I believe. 2 or 3 days time, we're going to see that going. Then before the international break comes back, having somebody in like Eddie Howe and saying, listen, we want you to keep us up. We want you to get this team at it now ready and prepare us for when somebody else comes in. We'll give you a wage for that. But again, is this something, would he be open to doing that? Would he make himself look, is it too risky? Is it too risky? This is the only question you've got to ask, because if it fails, it doesn't look good for him on his CV. It's just a real risk. But it's an interesting thought, though.
Well, reading this comment as well from Anthony's, Newcastle might do the same when they had Dalglish. They might get Gerrard from Rangers. I have heard Gerrard being talked about as being linked to the club already today. I doubt that's actually real links. That's just people sort of pointing out who might be the person. He would take it. I think he would take it, Steven Gerrard, if he was offered it. But I'm not sure whether he would be, like Lauren says, as good as someone like Eddie Howe if you wanted to bring someone in just for a small amount of time, just to sort of keep them out of relegation, bounce them up to mid-table, top tier. Lauren?
The Gerrard... Oh, sorry, go on.
No, go on, Talk. It's all right.
No, the Gerrard comment is quite interesting, because I see that as actually a progression from coming from Scotland for the Scottish League, which, by the way, I do like the Scottish League. I've got nothing against the Scottish League. I'm not saying it's, there's nothing bad about it, but it's a progression, because you're coming from the Scottish League.
Don't talk bad about Scotland, all right?
No, I'm not talking about. I could have got Scottish in my blood, mate. So I won't do that. But listen, he's going to come from Scotland. That could be a stepping stone for him to go into Liverpool, because, like I said, Jurgen Klopp's not at Liverpool for much longer, in my opinion. So, in Steven Gerrard's mind, look at it from this point of view. If they come knocking on your door, you think, "Well, okay, wait a minute. This is a great opportunity here. He's done really well with Rangers. he could easily take what he's doing at Rangers into that Newcastle team, because let's have it right, Rangers play for better football than Newcastle right now. So that would work, in my opinion. He could carry that over. And again, whether it would be, it may be on a basis of, okay, listen, if this is going to work, is this going to happen? It has to be on the basis of targets need to be met. But again, though, would Steven Gerrard go for that? Is he brave enough to go, oh, if you start talking targets, I don't know. This is the difference, isn't it?
It is different. It is. What do you think, Lauren? Do you think Steven Gerrard would be a good fit?
As much as I hate the guy, I think it'd actually be a really, really good idea, and it's not one of what I actually thought about. I think it gives him them few months of, or that bit of time with Premier League experience, managing a Premier League team. I really actually think that'd be a really good move for him if he then, if he inevitably then gets the Liverpool job. I think he'd be stupid not to take that if he kind of has the inkling that Liverpool job is in the pipeline. If he's, if nothing's ever been discussed about him ever taking that Liverpool job, or there's any rumours of Klopp staying or leaving, I think it is a risk, because where do you go if you're only being an interim? Where do you go then? You've just left a club, you're doing very well with. That's the problem. He needs to kind of know what he's going to be doing afterwards for him to take that job.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Let me just read out as well a few more comments, and we're going to talk about the owners and just about this situation about the human rights and all this. I guess we should talk about it. Static says, "Hey Matt, talk MU and Lauren, big up yourself. Unknown, hello. This will like a next level takeover, but it's not going to mean anything. This guy's going for it. Only if Newcastle had a great project like Man City. Well, they do now, don't they? They will have, hopefully.
We won't know until it starts, if that makes sense. We won't know until we watch the takeover happen. That's when that project will start.
Exactly. And money doesn't work every time. Looking at Champions League winners past years, money is needed, but it's not mostly on the team spirit. And money will not mostly attract top players. Money is needed to sign them, but also they have some reputation for themselves, like they need to compete in the Champions League. I meant Eddie Howe short term. Yeah, I know you did, mate. Voice of reason. That's why they call you that. I know. I knew that's what you meant. Look at City. They have gone towards players like David Silva, Sterling, De Bruyne, who were good but not world class. They have brought in all unproven kids and coached them under world class. Well, they've done all right, mate. I mean,
wait. David Silva was world class in my opinion. Kevin De Bruyne was world class in my opinion.
They've done good enough.
I think he's referring to like Foden, isn't he?
Yeah, I know, but why? You've got to give him time, haven't you? Got to give him time. Sancho was a youth player. They got rid of him. We've got him. It happens. Hello there, Devils United from Maisie. Big up yourself. And voice of reason. And this is the last one. Honestly, do you not think Gerrard has a better chance than Bruce at keeping Newcastle up? Wow, he must do, surely. I would prefer Big Sam. Oh, my Lord.
Sam.
Oh, what? You just think of all the money in the world and you want to go and buy a Nissan Micra. Oh, sorry, if you've got a Nissan Micra, please don't be offended. They're great cars, but come on. If you've got all the money in the world, you're going for a Bentley. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. Don't see it being Big Sam. Sorry.
I can't see it. So, guys, just to quickly wrap up, we'll spend a couple of minutes each to talk about it. The whole point of everyone saying as well, the bad bit about it is the human rights. And, everyone was talking on the Qatar World Cup and the fact that I think thousands of people have died just to build the stadiums and get that ball rolling. So they're looking at it in the same light and the way they treat their workers, because a lot of workers in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and etc. They come from abroad. What do you make of this? Do you think this could disrupt it? You think there'll be a lot of backlash from this human rights problem that seems about?
I mean, listen. I've got thoughts on it, but you know what? I don't fully understand exactly what goes on. I don't even know who they are, if I'm honest with you. So if I start to kind of speak about them without knowing who they are, that would be rather foolish. So I mean, listen, the human rights in lots of different countries, that there are problems, not just in Saudi Arabia. There's problems in lots of other countries as well. So, and you know what? It is a
because
very,
you are gonna get fans, especially
of
Newcastle
course.
fans. You are going to get people that are going, no, I don't agree with this. I have heard this already as well, so I don't know much about it myself. I just wondered if you guys thought that it could be a clogging, a spanner in the works. It could clog up things.
Well, I'll just say one other thing as well is that I know I did hear something about when there was talk of, I don't know if it was the same Saudi-backed group or not, about when there was talk of them taking over Manchester United. They want to do it also to improve their relationship with different parts of the world, and also because there are changes going on in Saudi Arabia, as we know. There are a lot of.
Well, did you hear about the changes? The reason why they got the bid taken over and it was done and dusted is because of the piracy of Premier League games in certain countries. Because obviously, I think BN Sports were a part of that, and they sort of said we're going to tackle, piracy, streaming, etc. Because we want this takeover bid, we want to own Newcastle. So, I mean, look, I think the Premier League look at that and go, look, we can make more money out of this because they're going to now have to subscribe to watch the games, and they're not actually going to be given that right of piracy claims. So, yeah, Lauren, what do you make of it?
My question is the question of, when we're talking about human rights, where are we going with this? Are we going with the human rights of this business's employees, or are we talking about kind of the human rights of the Saudi Arabian country? Like,
it's a bit of both, isn't it?
The law, because I think if it's to do with the laws in Saudi Arabia, I think it's bang out of order to then kind of, what's the word? God, well, I'm going to use a lesser word, like not let businesses from that country deal, because of
what's going on
government in that country. And it's like if an American company was to take over someone when Trump was still in power and people didn't agree with Trump's views and the laws he put in place, why penalise is the word? Why should that company who are from that country, due to their government, get penalised for what their government's doing? If it's to do directly with their company and how they're treating people and their views, I get that argument. But this is a company coming from Saudi Arabia. They have nothing to do with the laws and the views of the Saudi Arabian government or royal family. So therefore, they should not be penalised for the laws in their country. So I have a bit of conflict there on everyone has this moral, their moral compass and this, that, and the other. I get that, but they might have the completely different views. They might not, but we don't know that.
Well, we don't. That's the thing.
I know Anthony Downey saying also the government is the owners. They have
right. Okay, there you go. Then they go.
Lauren, they haven't. It's not. They've stated that it's nothing to do with the government, and it could be. I know there could be a lot of corruption involved. There is in football. No one actually knows the complete truth of who necessarily these people are. So I think I agree with you, Lauren. For us to be able to judge straight away, just because a certain group in Saudi Arabia has taken over, and there are links to say that they are the people that are changing things that are going on in Saudi Arabia is we can't really do that, right? Talk.
No, you can't, and you've got to be careful what you say, because at the end of the day, like I said, I don't know who these people are who've taken over. Don't know what their connections are to what part of the Saudi regime and blah blah blah. So when people are talking about the journalist, Khashoggi, I don't know, I can't remember the guy's first name, about what happened to him. And again, I mean, look, we listen to the media as kind of normal people. The media feed us what they think we need to know. there's always another angle to lots of different stories, and it's like when the things went down in England from the Russians when they poisoned. I can't remember the guy's name now, but again, and I said at the time, I just thought, wait a minute, if you're trying to tell me that there's been a conversation between the president of Russia, I'm not going to say his name, the president of Russia and somebody else around that conversation about what happened to that person, I find that very hard to believe. I think this is like when you're talking about these kind of people in this kind of power, it's like and it's like circles of power around them, and they're right in the middle, and each gap in that circle is an idea that you know what you need to do to protect the best interests of that next circle that is in front of you. There's nothing there's no need to talk about these kind of things. So people can take what the media say, and then they'll put two and two together and get four, but that's not necessarily the case.
I know. You've got to, if it is something that is being talked about, and there are people concerned, that you've got to talk about it. And of course, like, we will find out more and more about it. More stuff will come out. But I do think it is good for Newcastle today. Very good news. And I know from Unknown there, he said, I'm from India. I know how Qatar workers get so suffered. It's like a contract. Our government doesn't offer so much money, but Qatar gives more money and gives some hilarious contact. I do agree on that. I've been reading up a lot about the Qatar World Cup and all that, and some of it's quite important. Voice of reason. Newcastle fan here. I enjoy hearing other fans' thoughts. Human rights issues, of course, are an issue, but if we do not allow other countries to join us, then things will never change. Saudi Arabia is run by the Saudi royal family. Of course it is. That's a total lie, though. But you might be right. Look, we don't know. Not everybody knows politically what's going on. This is why we wanted to talk about it, and it's bloody good news for Newcastle today. Let's say that for the most part. And that's it. I think we've pretty much finished, haven't we, everyone? We've been on for an hour now. So thank you so much for coming on. We'll shout out social medias now. If you are watching, please smash the like, share, subscribe, and go do your research as well. Because research is important. Don't believe what everybody says. Make up your own mind. That's the point. Lauren, where can we find you? Thank you so much for coming on. Technical difficulties today.
It was a struggle, but we finally got here. We made an appearance. You can follow my Twitter at Lauren Page Souls. You've got your football, your boxing, and your F1 on there. So come and just have a look at me chatting shit every day, all day.
Brilliant. Have to come. Boxing. Oh, boxing exciting this weekend, eh?
Oh, yes. Can't wait, but I think it's just going to be a bit of a meh. I think we've seen it twice before. We're going to pretty much see the same again, aren't we?
I think so. You're going to go and check out Lauren then for boxing. I'm pretty sure you're going to be doing something this weekend, right?
Oh, you'll be getting tweets every 5 to 10 seconds during each round. So
get on right now if you can. And go check out. It's going to be an interesting fight this weekend. I think Fury all the way. So
yes, usual place for me on Twitter at iTalkMU. Find me on the Man United agenda and on this channel and Devils United. Thanks for having us on, mate, as well. And it was nice to stream with you, Lauren. Excellent.
Yeah, you too. It's been great.
I need to find you on Twitter. Let me just before you go. I want to make sure I get you correct. So it's Lauren. What is it, Lauren?
Lauren Page Souls. So it's just on the bottom corner there.
You got it, Talk?
No, I'm struggling with that, mate. I don't know if I'm spelling it.
I'll find you. I'll give you a follow.
Got you.
Yeah.
Technical difficulties today, isn't it, eh? What's going on?
It's this Windows 11. I'm blaming everything that's gone wrong today is Windows 11. That's simple as
that. No Windows 11. Stay on Windows 5 if you can. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Please like, share, subscribe. Check out Lauren. Check out Talk. Go check out their Twitters and YouTubes. and we'll see you again soon. Have a
Thank you very much for having me. See you later.
Bye bye.
Wow.
Yeah.